to Nasr. First of all, piece together what we know as we look at these pictures.
Well, those pictures seem to confirm the first reports we had of potentially a car bomb going off, because we're seeing major wreckage there. There are reports, though, which do contradict that to some extent, which say that an explosive device was thrown. If you see there in the pictures now, these are high-rise buildings in the Nasr City neighbourhood of Cairo, and there are some reports coming from local media, from officials, that this was actually an explosive device which was thrown into the street from above. But the pictures, I say, that we're seeing now seem to go against that. The man who was the target, and the Egyptian government have been very, very quick in the media to say this was an assassination attempt, this was against the Interior Minister Mohammed Ibrahim. He has appeared on TV, and we were told immediately that he was unhurt. Now we have proof that he was unhurt, and he's denounced it as a cowardly assassination attempt, and he's said that it's the beginning, not the end, of a battle against the forces that are doing this, the terrorists as he called them.
And what's the background of Mr. Ibrahim as Interior Minister?
Well, he goes back a long way in Egyptian politics, and he's seen as a man who has taken very strong action before against Islamists in the past, going back decades. Particularly in recent months, since the ousting of the Islamist President Mohammed Morsi, the Interior Minister is in charge of the police, and the police are accused by the Islamists, by the Muslim Brotherhood, of being the ones who have carried out the worst attacks on the protesters. You remember that just almost 2 months ago now, there was a huge effort by the police and the security forces to clear protests, sit-in protests in the centre of Cairo by supporters of the ousted president, by Muslim Brotherhood. That turned bloody. Hundreds of people were killed. Now, many of those people hold him personally responsible, and there have been reports that he's had death threats.
Sebastian, what about the pattern here? Because we know about Lebanon, we see what happens in Baghdad. What about this in Cairo, not just today, but in the past? Is this part of a pattern we've seen before?
Well, this is going to really, really step things up in Egypt. I mean, already people are expressing their huge fear, concern that they're moving into a new dimension with this. There hasn't been, if this is a car bomb, there hasn't been an attack like that for a long time in Cairo, and there hasn't been an attack in all the turmoil that we've seen in Egypt recently. There hasn't been an attack, an assassination attempt on such a high-ranking official.
Because any country in the world, any senior government minister of any rank, if there's any kind of threat, they will constantly be varying their route to work.
Yes, no, absolutely. And as I was saying, there have been death threats reported against Mohammed Ibrahim in recent days. So he will have stepped up his convoy. But this happened near his home.
He may not have been in the convoy, though.
There are reports that he wasn't there at the time. He said that many of his guards were injured. Maybe up to 20 people have been injured, including passers-by. So whoever carried out this attack, as you're saying, it may well be that he had changed where he was going, aware that something like this might be going to happen.
Or a number of convoys going in different directions as decoys.
There may well be that. We don't have any evidence about it at the moment. What we can say, I think, is that the state of emergency, which the interim governor, which he's a part, brought in last month, for a month, looks likely that that will now be extended. And this will, as I say, plunge Egypt into a new phase of instability and fear of what will come.